And then I figured y'all were up pretty late. I mean, I only stayed up till 11, and then I went to bed. It looked like it was in the bag. I said, "Fuck it, I'm going to bed." I was still kind of bummed. I was like expecting to wake up in the morning and find out Kamala won by 800,000 votes somehow.
Right.
Yeah. But did you see she totally blew off her last
All the
rally
people
she
that
had?
are in there, yeah, all over her.
What an ignorant fucking woman.
Well, Hillary did the same thing.
Yeah, still ain't reached out to Trump. They still ain't reached out to Trump.
She's supposed to be doing that at 4 o'clock. So I'm gonna see if I can find a video of it and watch it with you.
Yeah. I can't. I would have just loved to have seen her today, dude, sobbing and crying, and oh yeah, They would have had me smiling from ear to ear, bro. Probably would have got rips in the side of my mouth from smiling so hard.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's good that he won both the popular vote and the electoral college. Hey Nate, how you doing, buddy?
Hey Nate.
Just sharing links here real quick, bud.
Good. Getting a little gray out this afternoon.
They're getting rain out west.
Yeah.
But we're not supposed to get. It's supposed to hit the mountains out on the other side of Gettysburg.
Yep. Yeah, them mountains save us from a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
All year round. I wonder if our ancestors knew that when they settled here. This ought to be a nice little place.
I'm sure they knew like certain trends if they depending on where they lived in Europe.
I don't know, man. That goes back a couple of families for me. I don't know if they had too much information like that back then. You know, they didn't have Super Doppler 8 working for them. That's for damn sure.
Right.
they had Doppler 2.
Yeah, 2 eyes, right?
Yeah. Walk out on your porch. That's what it's doing. That's how I did it roofing. You know, I didn't worry about no weather. I walked out on my porch. That's what it was.
Yep. Oh, what am I doing here? Facebook next. Sharing links, everybody. Sorry, taking a minute. Fairy Tale Solos, welcome back. Good to see you back here. Yeah, Cal, I'll be with you in a second. Let me finish sharing links and stuff, bud. I also have to address something. Hi, Jamie. Welcome in.
Hi, Jamie. Yeah, my phone flat out died last night. I was surprised I could even talk to you because the screen just went black. Never been that low before.
Oh, mine has. I've killed my battery quite a few times.
Yeah, I've run my old phones down that low, but this phone here I've had for about 2 years, and I've never run this one down that low. But I've never done live streams before. Your show here.
Yeah.
Well,
glad you joined us. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Always a good time.
Jamie said, "Hi, Mike."
Hi, Jamie.
Nate just got off work. Awesome. Hopefully you're home relaxing a little bit there. Let me address this really quick because I want to talk about what happened this morning. First off, let me say I appreciate the people who outreached to me and were worried about me. I understand your concerns. I really do. But if you were there for the whole video, the whole 10 minutes of it, you'll notice that at the beginning of the video, I was perfectly fine like I am now. And that quickly, in less than 10 minutes, the pain took over and made me black out that quickly.
Oh, shit.
So there was no indicators that it was going to happen.
Wow.
Most of the time I can tell when that's coming on, and I cancel on you when I feel that happening. And that's why, because I don't want you seeing that, because I know it would worry you.
Yeah.
But I am okay. I'm safe. I was sitting down when it hit. I passed out again after I killed the stream. I was out there till 10 o'clock, passed out in the shed.
Wow.
So it's part of life. It's something that I deal with, and I'm sorry that you had to see it. But again, I just there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way it is. And yeah, I know Jay called me, Cal, and me and him talked. Apparently I had reminded him of his parents at a couple of points when their health was going bad, and I scared the hell out of them, and that's why I said when I cancel in the mornings, it's because of that, because I'm afraid that that's going to happen, or I know it's going to happen, and I don't want you seeing that. But there's times that I just can't help it. I don't feel it coming on. It just comes on really quick and overtakes me, and I don't realize it. So, yeah. But I appreciate y'all. I hope you know that. And I do make sure that I'm safe 99.9% of the time. I know, Jamie. I love you guys too. I really do. So, all right, let me get Cal a link here so I know he's chomping at the bits to get in here.
Yeah, I used to suffer from seizures, and I've had quite a few people that saw me have them, and they tell me it is not easy to watch, man.
No, I've been around that as well.
I haven't had one in a long time, thank God, but yeah.
Praise God for that. I'm happy to hear that, bud, because they're scary.
Oh yeah, yeah. When you first wake up, like, I know one of the last ones I had, I was living with a friend of mine up in York, New Salem. I had a seizure. I fell into the bottom step. My nose hit right on the corner of the bottom of the step, So I busted my gut.
Somebody punched you.
I had a deviated septum from it and shit. And no, I was laying there, and my roommate came in. He saw me laying there. He threw a cup of water on me, and I sat up and I said, "What the fuck did you do that for?" and then I went up and I slept it off. And the next morning, I drove myself to York Hospital. They hooked me up with Dilantin. I was driving home. I could see my house. I mean, I was less than 150 feet away from my house. I had a seizure in my car, and I took out a telephone pole or utility pole they had just put up. And I came to, I was sitting in the seat of my car. Telephone pole was like bent over my car, and there was people standing all around outside my car, and I started trying to get out, and they were trying to tell me don't move, because apparently the transformer was up there just blowing around in the wind, and if that would have fell, I would have been toast. Anybody who would have been trying to assist would have been toast. So yeah, they're pretty freaky, and it takes you a while to reboot when you come out of those. I had one in a pickup truck. I drove off the road about 80 feet into these woods. My pickup was up on top of a log, and I came to, and I was trying to get out, and I couldn't get out in 2-wheel drive, and I didn't realize I had 4-wheel drive. Like that part of my brain didn't reconnect yet. I walked up to this junkyard right down the road, not the one I live in, and asked somebody to come down and pull me out. And we went back down to my truck. And as soon as I sat in my truck, I looked down and I was like, fuck, 4-wheel drive. I put it in 4-wheel drive. I walked right out by myself. So yeah, they're it's like when your computer shuts off, you know, and and then you got to reboot. It takes a while for all the programs to come back online. They're freaky fucking things. I ain't had one in probably close to 20 years now, I reckon. Probably 15.
That's awesome, bud.
Yeah,
they've made strides in prevention of seizures. I know that the medications. That's the whole thing that I have with. It's a love-hate relationship with Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff they do does help, and it does do good things.
Yes.
But then some of it's just so fucking destructive.
Yeah. And it offsets everything else then too. You know, one pill can have side effects on another pill you got to take. So when you're taking, 5-10 pills a day, they all interact with each other differently. And then every new combination is another succession of problems that can arise from that. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Welcome, Robert, by the way. Good to see you. Good to have you here.
Hey, Robert.
So, yeah, Kamala has officially conceded.
Oh, has she?
Yeah, she called Trump and probably drunkenly said, Donald, screw you. It was my turn. Come on, Mr. Series. I've got another shot of vodka for you. And he's just like,
sorry about your luck, Nellie Olson. Sorry about your luck, Nellie Olson.
No, and then watching all the liberal meltdowns. I know this is okay. This is a little far even for me. Those of you that know me know that I have respect for my opponents, no matter who they are, no matter how much they wish bad things to happen to me. I never wish bad things to happen to them. The unaliving or self-census removal section of Reddit has gone insane. I mean, I know at least a few of them are troll posts. They're just there to piss everybody off. But there's some of them there that are actually they're dead serious. I honestly think there's going to be at least a small wave of self removals happening, and that really upsets me. And it upsets me not because just because that they're doing it. It upsets me that politics have gotten to the point in our lives where people are literally doing this rather than living their lives. The media and everybody else has got them so hyped up, so convinced that Handmaid's Tale and Project 2025 and all that crap are going to happen, that the only alternative they see is to remove themselves. That pisses me off. That pisses me off a lot. I'm not mad at the people who say that they're going to do it, because you know what? I was at some pretty dark points in my life too. I mean, I've dealt with some stuff. I won't go into it. So I understand the mentality. And for some people, they get into this place where they just can't get back out, and for them, removal is literally the only thing that they can do, because they just cannot get themselves out of it again. And if they even start to, they're not a functional person, or they need such heavy medications that they may as well not be a functional. And they're all complaining. At least some of them were complaining, they're going to gut healthcare, social services, et cetera, which, it's not going to happen. But they're so convinced of this that it's like, I could drag you to a lake, but you will not drink the water. They will absolutely refuse just because the water happens to have an orange sign next to it or whatever. You know what I mean? But
my brother, it's like my brother, he just called me, and he was like, "Are you done doing your happy dance?" And I said, "Well, I said I didn't do a happy dance. I said this is just the way things, this is just the way the things had to be. This is the way God wanted them." And he gave me this big spiel about, well, did you hear how Trump is going to end the Ukraine-Russia deal? And I said, no, I don't know if I did or not. But he said, what Trump's going to do is take some of Ukraine's land and give it to Putin. And I said, okay, and he goes, well, that's just wrong. How can he do that? How would you feel if somebody just took your land? I said, first off, he's giving him some land and saving a lot of lives. Would you rather lose land or lives? I think I'd rather lose a little land. And
plus,
second,
it's not our business.
And second off, it is not our business, man. If Putin wants to take Ukraine's land, hey, sorry about your luck. Join NATO. Maybe you get a little help. You do your part. But yeah, exactly. But we're supplying weapons, and and he was all pissed off that Trump wanted to do this. And I said, well, if Kamala would have went in there, we would have went to war. I don't want my fucking niece getting drafted to go fight for some piece of shit country. I don't want any of my nephews or cousins to be in another land fighting for something that has no bearing on them. It makes no sense to me.
Now, see, to me, it would be different if it was like England or France being militarily invaded by Russia. That's different because we've literally shed blood on the battlefield alongside our French, Belgian, English, even German brothers and sisters, for ages. Germany's been our op for a few of them, for a few of those matches, but we've always ended that with a relatively honorable peace. That's different. Ukraine, we have no history with them whatsoever. None. No, we have no real investment into them except for what the deep state was doing over there, and that's not really an investment of the American people.
No obligations at all.
Yeah.
Other than like a humanitarian. Other than a humanitarian aspect.
Yeah. And even then, we should only be donating what we can spare.
After we take care of people's. Yeah. After we take care of us. It's like I told my brothers. It's like I told my brother's wife. If a tornado goes through by my brother's place and rips off his neighbor's roof and his roof, he's not going to fix his neighbor's roof first. He's going to fix your roof first. What kind of idiot would fix your neighbor's house before you fix your own house? That's just not intelligent.
Not only that, but anytime there's a disaster, I don't see any of these countries jumping to offer aid to us. It's always the other way around. Well, absolutely. I should take that back. There was a tribe in Africa that right after 9/11, they offered us, I think it was like a dozen cattle. And to them, owning even one cattle is literally like being a billionaire. So they were offering us like a massive chunk of their wealth, just, going out of their way and trying to say, here, please take. We understand that you're suffering. We don't quite get all the, political mumbo jumbo about it, but we know you're suffering. Please take this. Thank you for coming to our help when we needed it, when our village was starving or, we didn't have a well, whatever. They thanked us. There have been very few nations that have stepped up and said, oh, hey, America's had a huge natural disaster. Let's go offer them some help because they helped us before.
100%, man. 100%.
I have no problem helping out our longtime cultural allies in Europe, in Asia, Philippines, Japan, South Korea, Australia, of course, New Zealand, our actual friends, ones that would back us up when we got punched in the nose on 9/11. Every nation that stood up and said, hey, you know what? Somebody just punched Big Brother in the face, lock and load.
Yeah.
Every single one of those nations, I would bend over backwards to assist them. But at the same time, even they don't regularly offer us aid. They just kind of expect us to handle our own business. I mean, I get it. America is a very independent nation, and that's just how we are. Hey, Tamara. But, at the same time, there's very few nations that whenever we have a major natural disaster, their first instinct is to go, hey, big brother, you need some help? We've got a couple of rescue teams in the area. We can send them over there, or, we can donate some humanitarian supplies. We can donate some blankets. stuff like that. Heck, right before World War II, there was a massive earthquake in Kure, Japan. You know what we did? We sent over, I think it was 5,000 blankets, something like 10,000 tons of food. We sent a hospital ship. And funnily enough, some of the survivors of the Doolittle raid said that at least a couple of those blankets were handed out to wounded airmen before they were, executed. But they were used to shelter them, and they actually saw that they had kept the damn blankets, for 14 years or whatever.
Huh.
Which, I mean, even in Japan's version of honor, which, hey, you know what? You guys went on a suicide mission. We recognize this. We will give you an honorable death. That's their way of doing things. At least it was at the time. The fact that they were willing to actually, take care of us right up until our honorable death, just shows, they, even our enemies, respected at that time what we did for them. And we just don't get that a lot. So, yeah, I really don't care what happens in the Ukraine. I want the fighting to stop because a lot of people are dying needlessly, and it just needs to stop any way it can without either side going too freaking far. We're basically in a Kuwait and Iraq situation in 91 again.
Well, we need to make sure that they do purge the neo-Nazi problem that's in Ukraine, and anybody who says there is none obviously hasn't been paying attention or just hasn't seen the right evidence, because the evidence is out there. I mean, Mark Hamill did a Zoom call with a battalion,
Azov battalion.
Yeah, and they had a black sun flag in the background.
Now, that isn't always an indication of socialist beliefs, because the black sun in that part of the world is an old pagan symbol that used to represent their gods, just as a certain version of a triskelion is as well. So it's not necessarily an indication, but
they're doing the Hitler salute to each other.
Well, yeah, when you combine it with that, yes, obviously.
They have the what is it? The skull and crossbones that they wore on their things.
Yeah,
that's say that name, but hi, welcome.
That's very interesting that you mentioned that. That symbol actually dates back to the Prussian cavalry from the 1700s. Thank you, Tamara. The death's head insignia actually dates back to Prussian cavalry from the 1700s. That it was a symbol of more or less of excellence. At least that it was originally. The German military used that symbol for a very, very long time, because a lot of German military, even in World War II, arose out of Prussian tradition. And there were actually quite a few well-known Prussian semi-royals or demi-royals that were part of the German military at the time. And they kind of insisted on using the death's head insignia, not because it meant, evil, but because it was, hey, you know what? We bring death to our enemies. We do this sort of thing.
Like you said, it was for the elite of the troops, and the SS, which is the only people that had that death head on their uniform, were supposed to be.
Sorry, I'm having an allergy attack over here.
No problem.
Bless you.
Bless you again. So, how's everyone doing? Well, hold on. I think she's finally up on the stage.
Oh.
Yep, she is.
My heart is full.
I can stop sneezing.
Full of gratitude.
Can you hear?
For the trust you have placed in me.
God, she sounds drunk.
Full of love for our country. And full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted.
The fucking
what we fought for. Not
let's talk about her people.
But hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright.
Well, the light of America's promise has nothing to fucking do with you.
No.
As we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting.
How do I pronounce your name? The person with the symbols for your name. If you,
Japanese.
I understand that, but I don't. Speak
Sheepdog. Sheepdog. It means sheepdog.
Mr. Biden, thank you for your faith.
Oh, is
and
that
support.
sheepdog? That's Logan?
To Governor
How'd I miss
Walz
that?
and the Walz family, I know your service to our nation will continue.
Do not chew on my cord. Yeah.
And to my extraordinary team, to the volunteers who gave so much of themselves, to the poll workers and the local election officials, I thank you. I thank you all. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran and the way we ran it. And the way we ran it.
Okay.
So she's proud of all the lies she told.
Yeah.
Of course she is. She's a politician. That just proves she is.
About building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background.
That's what Trump did.
United by love of country with
That's what Trump did.
enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future.
You didn't bring any joy.
And we did it with the knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us.
Like a whole
Now
dictator.
I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it,
I get it.
but we must
Yeah,
accept.
your people are hurting, so let's fucking laugh. Let's laugh like a fucking sociopath.
Spoke with President-elect Trump on his victory.
Hi, Animal
I
Farm.
also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
Just like Trump did
I'll take it.
4 years ago.
I'll take it.
A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results.
Bullshit.
They never have, but whatever.
Tomorrow they'll start screaming that Russia was involved.
Russia.
Yeah.
And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States.
Which you were trying to overthrow.
Yeah.
And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to
Oh, you
say,
can't hear it, Jamie?
while I
I can hear it good.
this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
She conceded the election, but she's not conceding the fight. Okay.
The fight for freedom, for
Well,
opportunity,
guess what? The American
fairness,
people
and the dignity
spoke
of
and said,
all
you guys can
people.
go fuck yourselves.
A fight.
Come on.
The ideals
You're fired.
of our
It-
nation.
It's just more
The ideals
contradiction.
that reflect America
Oh,
at
please.
our best.
So
That
She's putting her head.
is a fight I will never give up.
She's putting her head down and getting to work to thank her supporters.
Yeah.
All right, I heard enough of her.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm done. I can't handle listening to her because all she's going to start doing now is talking shit. And
Yeah, she's drunk too. I can tell.
Yeah,
she's not,
she
not slurring.
concedes.
She's got that lilt.
Yeah, she concedes and she don't concede and she does concede and she don't. Ain't no wonder people are confused.
yeah,
Well, they can't even tell you what a woman is.
No,
When have they
no.
ever made sense? You know,
It's called a vagina.
they can manufacture those now, so don't even start with that.
Did you say vagina? Vagina?
Vagina.
Yeah.
It's not a wee wee.
I gotta say though, this is
Animal
about the
Farm
most
said-
coherent I've ever heard her. She must be on just the right mix of nose candy and liquor.
Yeah.
Word
You know
salad
what?
Kamala.
No
Yeah,
hackling.
you know what?
No, I didn't hear one hackle.
Yeah, she did.
So you know what? I
It was
will
at the
take
beginning.
this. Yeah. I will
Oh.
take this. She says she wants a peaceful transfer of power. That's fine. We know it's not going to be completely peaceful because there is a tradition for pranking the incoming administration. I remember when it was transitioning from Clinton to Bush, they hid all the keyboards for every single computer. Which, back then that wasn't too many computers, but they literally took every single keyboard and stacked them up in a random ass closet in the White House basement. They just stacked all of them in. They do pranks on each other. This is just how they do.
And that's my primary worry right now, is if they're going to start any fires before they get out of there. I mean, they've already got a dumpster fire going, But are they going to go around back and light a couple of small cans on fire, just to basically sabotage Trump's ability to succeed, which ultimately is America's.
I'm sure
that's
they
what
will.
I say. I see people that post the stupidest shit. They're like, "Oh, I hope if this candidate wins the presidency, I hope they fail." That is the stupidest fucking thing you can say, because if our president fails, we all fail.
Yeah. That just goes to show their immaturity and their complete ignorance to anything. Like that, there is no common sense there. There is no frontal lobe connection at all.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go look at other races here that haven't been confirmed yet.
Well, Lauren Boebert got in. Happy to see that. She's not always 100% on America's side, but she is leaning. She leans that way more often than she does.
The people who like to feel her up too, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, she has her flaws. But she is more or less on our side. And you know what? At this point, it's more. Europe really has this problem more than we do, because we have a technically two-party system, whereas Europe, most of their countries have a multi-party system. They have to build alliances between different political groups. Each different political group has their own very narrow, set of things that they want to accomplish. Here in the United States, we have to reach within our own parties, to different factions of those parties, because you take a Republican from California, he or she or it is going to be further to the left than a congressperson from, say, deep red Iowa or Arkansas, which, by the way, we do have an official it in Congress. Delaware elected a transgender person to John Cena can get cut, period. He is a Chinese plant. And I have issues with that man. I have major issues with that man. I won't go into him here because I would get rude very fast. But no, it's all about building a coalition at this point. It looks like we're going to control the House. It looks like we're going to need at least 213 for control of the House. We've controlled the Senate, but it's not a supermajority. We weren't going to get a supermajority one way or another. That's fine.
We got 52 seats in the House right now. There's still 4 seats that have to be called.
Contested.
We have 210 in the House and 52 in the Senate. And we've got
this is only showing 201.
I'm at 270 to win.
Where are you watching? You're on 270 to win.
Yeah, election live House. And we've got 13 toss-ups. I mean, it's looking good.
I would donate to the Associated Press so they can push out more propaganda bullshit.
Oh, God.
Wrong.
But anyway, we have to build a coalition in order to get certain things done. Yes, most of the Republicans are going to be on board with what Trump wants to do. There's going to be a few that want concessions. And as usual, we're going to have to deal with at least some pork barrel spending. That's just the nature of the beast. Trump is going to, of course, do his level best with DOGE to cut as much of the unelected bureaucracy out of the government as possible. And Ron Paul, the libertarian grandpa, basically.
I hope they end the Fed. Just completely fucking cut it out.
That would be nice, but that is going to cause such a disruption to our currency that I want us weaned off of it over a period of about 8 to 12 years. Because if we end it suddenly, the value of the US dollar is going to tank. Because, I really don't like pulling this up. I really don't. But the only analog that we have to pulling out of the national, not the Federal Reserve, but the international, more or less the banking coalitions, the international banking coalitions, which fund currencies like ours, which are fiat currencies. The only nation that ever really did that was Germany in 1933. It didn't go well for them. It really didn't, because every single major national bank instantly froze them out. Their currency was immediately devalued down to nothing, and they literally had to barter. They had to barter goods for goods. They couldn't use their own currency except inside of their own borders. And even then, they were basically giving people the equivalent of work tickets. You know, you've worked 8 hours a day. Here's proof that you worked 8 hours a day. You can trade this for, value of whatever. And their currency was completely devalued. That's why I want us weaned off of it. I do want it ended because the Federal Reserve is just completely insane, but we can't just drop it immediately. We can't drop it like the hot potato it is. We've been in the system for too long. It's like being an addict. You can't stop the drug instantly without having something there to ease the body into the transition. Otherwise, you risk killing the body. I know, very hardcore alcoholics who have died of, shock, they've had heart attacks, strokes, whatever, because they just cold turkey the alcohol, or they cold turkey the nose candy, or the other unlicensed pharmaceuticals, the really hard stuff. They stop that instantly and they die. I'm not saying America's going to die, but our currency could take such a huge hit that everything that Trump wants to do with taxes is going to be moot. He can drop our taxes, can cut the payroll taxes, remove the income tax, all that sort of thing, and raise tariffs. But if the US dollar's value drops significantly, like say $1 to €3 or something like that, that would be absolutely devastating for the value of the US dollar. And we would end up basically in the situation we're in right now, where we're paying the equivalent percentage of our income to just survive. So we need to be weaned off the Fed. We need to be weaned off of it. I want it to happen badly because the Federal Reserve is bad for us. It is basically a long-term sugar rush. And the only way a sugar rush ends is in a crash. Eventually, the fiat currency will crash. We need to go to something else. And staying on the gold standard probably was the best thing that we could have done, because gold, while it does have fluctuations, the fluctuations usually aren't significant. They don't look like a cardiograph every 3 days. It's relatively stable throughout. And if you tag yourself to something that has relatively stable value in the market, a pound of gold for 2 gallons of oil or whatever. If it has a stable value and your currency is pegged to that, then you have a relatively stable currency. Yeah, you know what? There might be times when the value of gold will rise significantly, and then your currency happens to be worth more. This is why we had problems with people shaving bits of currency off, bits of coins off of the edge. That's why we have the ridges on the quarters. That was originally to stop people from shaving little tiny bits of silver off of the quarters. That's why we have ridges. It's to prevent coin cutting. I forget the original term for it. But
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why we have ridges on the sides of those. But we have to wean ourselves off the Fed. There's a lot of things that we have to do. Trump's got 4 years to do it. He's got 4 years to get us started down the road. I have a good feeling on Vance now. Just seeing him speak, feeling him out.
I wasn't sold on him at first. I'll be honest.
Neither was I. I was like, he should have.
Or Elon. I was skeptical about his.
I was skeptical about him too. Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to further his career, and I get that. I mean, but was he truly, down with the deal, or was he just there? But I mean, all of them, RFK, Elon, JD. I mean, I think they're gonna make a hell of a team for us, in America, for the world, for the fucking world.
You throw Bobby
Kennedy actually asked a very good question. How far back in history does that coin shaving stuff go? Literally to the beginning of the time when we used precious metals for currency.
I would think,
Coin shaving has been an issue for a very, very long time. We found, I think it was Roman coins that had been that were kind of misshapen just a little bit because the coin cutter didn't quite do it just right. And there have been security measures against that going back just about as far. But as for Musk, I do want to say this.
Let me just reiterate one more thing here. Back in Roman times, to take and go against the coin shavers, that's why they went to it would be a certain ounce for the coin, and they would weigh the coin, and if it didn't weigh that much, they would go after the person for doing it.
Huh.
So
because I imagine if you shave 10 coins down, maybe you could make 1 coin, off of the shaving. So
but I wanted to say about Elon, the reason why he jumped into this movement so hard is because the woke mob stole his daughter from him. She is now a trans person, and she hates her father. I mean, she literally despises her father's mere existence. He lost a daughter to this movement. I mean, and I know Elon was a little off to the left before all this stuff started happening, and I know he probably, I mean, from everything that I know, he tried to make peace with her. She wanted him to, use his money for various, causes. He was kind of willing to do that, but she just grew to hate him more and more and more just because he was rich.
Yeah. He had his son on his interview with Tucker last night at Mar-a-Lago, and he was funny. I don't know how old he is. He's pretty young. I wouldn't say even 5, maybe.
He's got like what, 10 kids?
But this little kid kept grabbing the mic and couldn't understand what he was saying and shit. And Tucker and Elon were both being pretty patient with it. It was starting to annoy me a little bit because they were trying to conversate, and this little kid, Tucker would ask Elon a question, and the little kid would be sitting there with a smile on his face. They'd reach out and grab the microphone but then Elon finally slid him off his lap and sent him on his way. It was cute.
Samara said that Elon has 12 kids.
12 kids, yeah. But he lost a kid. He lost a kid to the lefty movement, and for any parent, that's devastating because they're still alive, but they absolutely refuse to interact with you. They don't want anything to do with you. You're no longer part of their lives. You raise them, you watch them do all this stuff as a kid, and now they're just gone, but they're still there. So I'm not surprised at all that he decided, you know what, screw it. I'm going to burn these people down. They stole my daughter from me. Fine. I'm going to burn them to the ground. That is his motivation, is revenge. And revenge can be one of the greatest motivators in human history. Look at how far we have gone for revenge as a culture, as a species. We go pretty far. So, and that, of course, just him starting down that path opened his eyes to a lot of other things. It made him realize, a lot of the stuff that has been going on here is worse than he really thought it was. He got out of his ivory tower and touched grass, as it were. He had his touch grass moment. And that was the most significant thing ever for him. And now he's pretty much one of us. I mean, he wants efficiency in government. He wanted efficiency in
Twitter.
And he got it. He slimmed down Twitter. He got rid of all the dead weight. He's going to do that in government now. He's got Ron Paul, the expert on where all the fat in the government is, because he was part of the government for so long. He knows where a lot of the skeletons are buried too. So he's going to be digging those up. Ron Paul wants his revenge on them too. I mean, the guy tried to run for president and nobody listened to him. Nobody listened.
I voted for him.
Chris, you got 2 warthogs headed your way.
2 warthogs.
Oh boy. Oh, that's a treat.
Okay.
They just went screaming over my house.
Ooh.
Love that stuff.
Oh yeah. Warthog's one of my favorite aircraft ever. But so, I mean, just looking at what's going to happen.
I got 2 lefties coming up behind me or what?
Oh boy. But with Ron Paul helping Elon Musk knows how to run things like a business. Ron Paul knows where all the skeletons are buried.
Yeah.
Those 2 working together is going to be a dream team. And now with Kennedy, Trump said specifically he's going to focus Kennedy on health and medication and big pharma. Expect a lot of shit to happen. I mean, For one thing, I can't wait for them to start cutting out high fructose corn syrup in a lot of things because it's literally everywhere. It's in places that it doesn't need to be.
It is poison.
Yeah.
Well,
They need to go after these colors, these dyes and shit too. These petroleum-based dyes.
Well, hopefully they
Red
start
40.
looking. Hopefully they start getting some of this freaking advertisement off of the damn TV too. You know, because you got these people that are.
What, 2 countries that big pharma can advertise on television?
Yeah, you get these mentally ill people in society,
Hi, Andrea.
which we've got an overabundance of. You know, and then they see this shit on TV. If you take a pill, it'll fix this, and right away they self-diagnose themselves that they need this, and they learn all the traits to make a doctor think that they have this problem, you know, and it just, they need to take that shit off of the damn TV. That shit is become
doctors' offices and hospitals.
Yes.
You know, when I
let them diagnose the problem first and then suggest the medication. Don't suggest a problem, you know, and run with what they think.
Here's the thing, okay? And again, I had already been diagnosed with my issues, but I was sitting in my neurosurgeon office and I saw an ad for the spinal stimulator. And the pamphlet was there, so I read through it. And when I went back to talk to my neurosurgeon, I talked to him and I said, "What are your thoughts on this?" And it's exactly how I asked him. I said, "What are your thoughts?" Because I'm not the expert. It's not my place to say, "Hey, I want to try this."
Yeah.
It's my place to come to him and say, "Hey, I saw this. What do you think?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And he sat down, he discussed the pros and cons of it with me and said, "Hey, you know, we can try it. You know, we can do a trial and see what happens." And we did, and that's the whole reason I got the spinal stimulator.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've never went to a doctor and said, "Hey, I want you to put me on this."
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time I've gone to my doctor and said, "Hey, this is what I'm feeling. What can we do to help fix it?"
Yeah.
And then they always go, "Well, we can try this." And maybe I'll come back with, "Well, I was looking through some stuff and I saw this. What do you think?" And, you know, my doctors have always been straight up with me. And they're like, "Well, no, I don't think that'll work." Or, "Yeah, we can try that and see what happens." And that's how I've gotten to where I am now. And I'm actually in a much better place than I was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was almost 400 fucking pounds and I could barely move. And I sure as hell wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
We won, guys. We are getting our country back. Today is a glorious day. Yeah, well, we have a long ways to go to get our country back, and it's going to start, in my opinion, with getting our education system back on track and making smarter kids. Kids who know how our government actually fucking works. You know, and making education competitive again. When we were in school, we competed. We were excited to, you know, be in the top 3 in the world, and we'd study to try and keep that. And somehow we've lost that drive, and we need to get that drive back.
Yeah.
You know, school choice. I think the only con that I see in school choice is that you're going to see good schools get overwhelmed with too many people trying to get into them.
Yeah.
And when you get too many kids, you can lower the standards of teaching.
Yeah. There just ain't enough time to address them all. Because every kid's going to have a problem of some sort.
They need to get rid of this no kid left behind bullshit. Fuck that. If the kid isn't up to standards, hold him back a year like we used to.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Relearn it.
Yep.
It's not going to hurt the kid. It's not going to hurt the parents. These fucking parents. I don't want my kid held back. It makes me look like a bad parent. Well, maybe you are a bad fucking parent.
Yeah, well, your kid in third grade that barely has a first grade education, that ain't gonna make you look like a fucking genius either. Then everybody's gonna think your kid's retarded or something, and then you're taking that off of your shoulders, you're putting it on your child's shoulders. What good is that gonna?
What was that Bill Engvall joke? You're gonna have a job with your name on your shirt. You remember that?
Yeah.
No.
I remember that joke. I'll
have to find that and post it on Discord later.
I don't know how you guys keep so much shit in your head, man. My head don't hold that much shit.
Man,
Maybe
I've lost so much information in my brain.
Oh yeah, dude. I had over 40 seizures in like a 5-year period. So like my brain has been. I mean, I am blessed that I can speak, walk, poop in a toilet, ride a motorcycle. Like, I'm a lot of people in my situation would be far, far worse off, I'm sure. I mean,
oh yeah.
The head injuries from these seizures, like, not only did I have a seizure multiple fucking times, I've acquired multiple head injuries from those seizures, I've broken my hip because of a seizure. So, like, yeah, I mean, I got 21 pins from my right hip to my right ankle and a steel bar. Like, So I'm like partly the bionic man with a quarter of the brain.
Andrew said, right, Mike? Cal is a walking encyclopedia.
Jeez. Yeah.
I mean, I was lucky that my mother was a teacher.
Yeah.
She taught English and science, biology, and she was always interested in education. My dad was very much self-taught with a lot of things, especially technology. Better scoot up so it doesn't look like it just have the porn stash there. But they were both, and then my grandmother, for her day, she had a full high school education, which was very rare. My grandfather did not. He got as far as 8th grade before he had to drop out and start working. Of course, that was kind of typical back then. We're talking the 20s. My other grandfather was an educated man. I know he graduated from high school, and then he learned through an apprenticeship to do steel work and eventually became a manager. And his wife, she was not formally educated in a lot of things. I don't know how much formal education she actually had, but I know that she learned a lot from her father being a butcher. She learned anatomy.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, she learned she could butcher any animal you put in front of her,
Right.
literally anyone. So, but she didn't have a lot of influence in my life. She died like 8 months after I was born. Which is very unfortunate. I wish I got to know her. But I was surrounded by people who valued education very much. Even my stepdad, God rest his soul too. He graduated high school. He was born in 1940. And he started a small business with his cousin, and he later took over that business completely. And you got to be pretty smart because he was able to pretty much, handle all of the finances of that. And get the job done and be respected. He was not one of those contractors. He did wood floors. He was not one of those contractors that took 5 or 6 jobs because he was already deep in the hole, and he would use, it's the old robbing Peter to pay Paul sort of situation, which a lot of contractors do. They are in debt. They own nothing. Everything is in someone else's name. And they'll take 3 jobs. The first 2 jobs will go to paying down the debt for the first job. And then they just keep propagating that, and they take a little bit off the top to live on, continuously, but they're always in debt, and they're always trying to take on bigger and bigger or higher value jobs so they can keep paying off that debt. He was never in debt, except for a brief time after his first wife literally stole everything, including her daughter's college funds, left him with absolutely nothing. No, she was one of those. She left the house completely empty. He took daughters on vacation. I forget where, I don't know the whole story, but when they came back, the house was completely empty. I mean, it was completely fucking empty. There was not a single piece of furniture in there. And the daughter still sided with her because apparently he was so abusive and terrible. He wasn't. The man hardly drank before, but he drank a lot afterwards. I mean, there was a lot that I didn't understand about him until after he passed away. And I know now he was massively messed up by the stuff that happened, but still, he took me in for a brief apprenticeship over one summer when I was in high school. And, he kind of basically offered me the business, but I'm like, I like the hands-on and I like the design aspect of things. But I am never going to be the physical person that you are, because this man can take a belt sander, or not a belt sander, the big roto sanders that they also use for buffing.
Yeah.
Throw one of those over his shoulder
Orbital.
and do 5 or 6 flights of stairs at 50 plus years old.
Yeah.
I will never be that. I told him flat out, I can't do the physical half of this. I can do the design half. I can, assemble, but I can't do the physical. And he's like, you know what? That's fine. I recognize that is your limitation. You're more like your actual dad, who wasn't actually my birth father. I'm adopted, but whatever. You're more like your actual dad. You got it more up here than you do here.
Yeah.
Muscles. So, but he recognized that. He was fine with that. So I was always been, people have always supported me in learning more. And my mom and my dad both told me, don't go a day without learning something. The day you stop learning is the day your brain stops working. So
See,
I'm always learning something new every day. I watch some, whether it be a manufacturing process or, learning. I'm still learning stuff about history.
See, that's what sucks about my childhood. I grew up and I kind of idolized so many of the old people in my life, and they were all under 6th grade educated men, and they were all, my grandfather was a master carpenter. His best friend was a master metal worker. These guys they could do anything. They could fabricate anything, but they had no real education. It was all handwork, And unfortunately, I idolized a lot of them guys. And now I find myself a 57-year-old man. And I never graduated 7th grade. So I only actually have a 6th grade education,
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, formal education.
Yeah.
Formal education only gets you so far.
If you don't know how to utilize it.
Street smarts are worth a lot more in most situations than a college education.
And and that's what I learned from them, basically. That school intelligence was fine, especially if you planned on going down a certain road. But if you planned on just being a good American, you didn't need that. All you needed was a working skill and a pair of hands.
And
a good
we really need to get back to that. We really
and
need
a little bit of common sense. Yeah.
Common sense ain't so common anymore. Andrea over there says that's what we need to teach little ones in life. You're always a student. You can always learn something new. That's completely true. I mean, I knew somebody in Chicago. They started off as just doing hard ass labor. I mean, he was a bricklayer for a while. He did some pipe work, other stuff like that. But this was a guy who literally broke himself by the time he was like 38. And he put a kid through school and all that because he, got a girl in trouble when he was a little on the young side. Just little on the young side, a little Trump there. But he put a kid through school, by the time he was about 40. But by the time he was 40, he was in such bad shape, he just physically couldn't do it anymore. You know what he did? He went to community college and got himself an associate's degree. I think it was business or economics or something. He started basically just grabbing people's taxes and doing them, and he eventually worked himself up, got the necessary certifications to be an accountant. The man reinvented himself from a guy who worked with nothing but his 2 hands, his Chevrolet legs, and his leather personnel carriers, into a guy that worked with numbers. And he was very happy. When I met him, he was 63. He was just about to start considering retirement from his second career because he'd been doing that for almost 20 years at that point. I met him through a mutual friend. He was basically helping her with her father's bars, account stuff. But no, he had literally reinvented himself. So what Andrea says is completely right. We are fortunate as humans. One of our greatest assets is our abilities to throw away our past and start all over again if we completely screw things up. We have a long enough lifespan, and we can stuff enough knowledge into our heads fast enough to reinvent our lives. We can get 2, maybe 3 chances, 3 bites at the very big apple, and we just have to have the wherewithal to do it. And that's what this election has really said to a lot of us is, hey, you know what? We were at the last exit before the greatest disaster of our lives. It would have been 250 and done. We would have gone 250 years is about the average for any empire. And don't kid yourself, America is technically an empire by function, if not form. 250 and done. Because we would have self-destructed just like almost exactly like the Roman Empire did. But we were able to change course. You can attribute it to whatever reason you want, but the fact is that we did it. We now have a chance to reinvent ourselves as a nation. We have a chance to reinvent ourselves as people. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are on the right or in the middle who are saying to themselves, well, you know what? If Trump comes through with even half of his promises about putting more money in my pocket every paycheck, maybe I can start thinking about getting a better job. If he's kicking out all of these illegals, maybe I can start thinking about taking some of their positions, because a lot of illegals will work in construction because they can get away with, virtually no proof of citizenship, and they'll get paid cash under the table. So a lot of these construction companies are going to be like, well, we're losing some of our less skilled labor. But let's see if we can get some Americans in to do the job instead. Maybe they won't work maybe they'll want a little more money or whatever. But if the payroll taxes are decreasing, it suddenly becomes cost competitive to hire an American. Because an American is going to expect a certain amount of money for their labor, especially if it's hard labor like construction. And if you're paying an illegal the equivalent of about half. Now think about this. You're paying an illegal roughly half of what you would pay an American, but now the cost to hire an American decreases to almost half.
Andrew.
Yes, it does. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say anything. I completely agree with Andrea over there about your backdrop. It does look like a green screen.
I'm outside.
I know you are. But when you look at the cost effectiveness now, it's going to be, if Trump comes through, it's going to be just about as cost effective as to hire an American as it would an illegal. That means that we're going to be putting more Americans to work, because that is one of the biggest hurdles to hiring Americans, is that we insist on a certain value for our labor. But the problem is the business, we see, 25, almost 30% of our payroll goes straight to taxes. Well, businesses have to pay that too. It's 50-50. Each side pays half of those taxes. If those taxes get cut down, all of a sudden both sides are paying less, and it becomes more attractive to hire an American citizen for a position, because you're paying less in taxes. The money going out the window towards that labor becomes competitive with hiring an illegal. Then you get rid of the illegal, and you suddenly have a captured market. But it's going to be, in the long term, it will provide growth. The long term. I'm not so sure how it's going to work in the short term. I'm not that good with economics, but this bodes well. And there are going to be a lot of people who are just going to up and start improving their lives because they feel like the future has hope. I mean, I know before last night, I was ready to maybe not live all the way until New Year's because of some crazy shit happening. I won't go into it because that'd get us banned off of YouTube real quick. But I was prepared to throw down. I was absolutely prepared to throw down. I have virtually no ties. Yeah, we all were. But now I'm thinking, you know what? Those long-range plans that I had, I'm going to take a more serious look at that. Because I feel now like I've got more of a future than I did before last night. I know a lot of people do. This is a turning point, not just for a nation, but our culture too. Because now, not only can we get rid of the nasty shit in our food, we can
Kitten. He's a pretty kitten.
get rid of the nasty shit in our food. We can work on making our education better.
Don't know what you're smoking in that pipe there, Cal.
He likes the kitty.
Just saying.
I know he does.
I love cats. I love cats.
You know, I love
We have the
teeth.
best cats, folks. We have the best cats.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a real turning point. You know, just even if it just lasts the next 4 years, it is an. Or I should be leaning this way because my camera's flipped left and right. Oh, he's talking.
You know they're just gonna spill that, right?
Yeah.
Katie brought me the food bowl out a while. So I guess we're gonna go feed cats while you're on the phone while we're on the live stream.
Woohoo!
That's fine. Get to see
Already
Kitty.
fed mine. I got
mine got fed this
You'll
morning.
get to see Yang, who is
I
my
got-
old
Yes,
family.
exactly, Andrea. A huge burden has been lifted.
Yeah.
And there was amendments in North and South Carolina, Wisconsin, Idaho, Iowa, Kentucky, Missouri, and Oklahoma to stop non-citizens from voting. That is huge. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 states out of 50 that just this cycle have moved towards getting, making sure that only citizens vote. That's a good step. And if we keep moving forward with that, elections will become competitive again. It's going to get harder and harder for them to really cheat. They're going to have to go back to what they were doing in '63 and, start trolling the graveyards again. But even then, these days, we can instantly look up, oh, hey, why are there 16 people registered at this address that's an empty lot? We can check that instantly on our freaking phones. Oh, why are all of the people who are registered died, 20 years before the election? We can check that instantly. We can eliminate that, and we can start getting a fairer election, a better representation of the people. And it's going to again come down to politicians having to compete for their seats, which is going to bode well for us in the long run too. Yeah. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Katie.
Howdy.
I heard her.
Cal and Mike.
So, this election, it could have been the end of everything, but it's the beginning of a new dawn. That's what Trump was saying. Golden age of America. Well,
yeah.
He's going to lay the foundation for it. He is going to be. There's like a dozen, historical figures I could mention off of this. I'm not going to go and compare him to, Sam Adams, Washington, all them, but I can compare him to, other ones that have been the beginning of a movement. It's going to be up to us to keep it going.
I don't know how many of you guys actually watch Avita Duffy, but it's like she said, it's almost a blessing that the election did get stolen from Trump in 2020, because if the election wouldn't have been stolen, he would have got another 4 years. And this coalition of Elon, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker, they may not have all gotten into the same circle. They might still be out among their own. But
yeah.
So we've that's the big thing, I think with this election. We've got to take the good from the bad. Everything's got good, everything's got bad. We've got to find the good and focus on that, and take that ball forward from there.
Yeah.
Give me a water bottle. Water jug.
The 4 years that we suffered under Biden, it's like exercise. Think of it this way. It's like exercise. We just went through 4 years of suffering to get those gains. Now we're on the cusp of having those gains.
Yeah.
Now,
I
said,
and it let a lot of people gain an appreciation, hopefully. And apparently, according to the votes, according to the votes, a lot of people did gain an appreciation.
Yep.
Quite obviously. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just shocked how fast we got results back. Because I even just told my niece the day before I had to take her to work, and she said she was asking about the vote, and I said, we might not know for 2 fucking weeks, and it really
Arizona's still counting.
Yeah, so
Arizona's still fucking counting.
Yeah, they let them count, because at this point it's really irrelevant. The fix is in. Mm-hmm. And their cheat is there's no way they can cheat now. Absolutely no way. I mean, they can give us a hard time with letting Trump in there, and then, yeah, I mean, they can still pull some shit on Trump, but
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
they could. But yeah,
I mean, there's still a pew attack we have to worry about.
yeah, we might have to worry about that too.
Yang.
Yeah, Trump's ahead by 107,000 votes in Arizona, but they're still counting. They're still counting. They might mysteriously find 200,000 votes for Kamala. It's not going to matter. It's not going to just give up. Just give up. Just give it at this point. Just throw it to them.
Just count the actual ballots and freaking fucking write that number down. Like, get your little fingers out. 1Z, 2Z, 3Z, you know. And yeah. Don't wait for a fucking big box of shit to get delivered at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Sit back, Katie. Here's the one. Yeah. Here's the kitties that you normally don't get to see. See this little girl here, the gray and white one? You don't usually get to see her.
Yeah.
There's 2 of the black triplets over here that you don't get to see normally.
I can't see them. Too dark. Here's a funny one. Yeah, hold on.
How about now? You can see that one?
A little bit.
Yeah, the other one ran over that way.
There's a funny one.
Here's my Yang. He's got golden eyes and everything.
2024, unemployed. Kamala walking with a beard with a beer and shorts, and yeah, looks like a little hoe. Looking like a little hoe.
Yeah, she's going back to her previous engagements.
Yeah, get them knee pads back out, baby.
Yeah. Trump has 72 million votes. At least those are the votes that count. I mean, we all know that at least in some of these states, a chunk of Trump ballots were most likely tossed in the trash.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of them that were. How many of those ones that were in the, burning ballot box were for Trump?
Yeah. Oh, here's a couple of other things that are pretty interesting for you. Just looking at the totals that I'm seeing. Jill Stein, who, by the way, was a very valuable ally in helping kick Kamala out, even though she's going to be our enemy next time. She got 630,000 votes nationwide. That's pretty good. I mean, that tells you that there is a significant number of significant minority in the country that would like to see a Green Party candidate at some time. Now, here's the thing that really bothers me. And this is the thing that pisses me off. This was election interference right here. Bobby Kennedy got 602,000 votes. He should not have gotten any. He should have been removed from the ballot in every single state.
He requested to be removed from the ballot, and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, so that means that Trump should technically have almost 73 million votes because they would have gone towards him. That and Chase Oliver, the Libertarian Party underneath him, basically.
Oh, you mean the Libertarian fascist guy, the one that was for the jab mandates and all that bullshit that never should have been a candidate for a Libertarian Party?
Yeah, Chase Oliver is a communist, not a libertarian. I don't know how he got their nomination, but whatever. Point is that he got 568,000 votes. That, again, at least a chunk of those votes should have gone to Trump. If the Libertarians had been truly a unified electoral polity properly, they would have said, you know what? In this fight against Harris and Trump, Harris represents literally everything we stand against. Trump represents everything we stand for. We're removing our candidate from the party, from the ballots. You need to vote for Trump. He's the closest we're going to get for now, and we'll try again in 4 years. I mean, that's just how it should have been. So, that's at least another 1.5 million, million.
The Libertarians actually hurt their party by pushing him front more than what they helped it.
Yeah, they hurt their cause big time.
I won't take them serious. It'll take a long time for them to build my trust back. The Mises caucus, Smith and his guys. I followed them, and I liked a lot of the stuff that they had to offer. But in the end, I think they ended up backing Trump.
Yeah, I mean, we can all pretty much guarantee that Trump, he lost some votes. How many he actually lost, we don't know. And by lost, I mean they were.
Rumble?
Hey, Casey.
How you doing,
Um,
bud? I'm
Casey.
on Rumble every day.
It's good to see you, buddy.
We do YouTube, we do Rumble, we do locals, and we do X.
Yep.
I might
We
throw
go
Twitch
everywhere.
in. I don't know. We'll see.
You know what? You really
Fun.
should. I mean, Twitch right now is trying to depoliticize their platform. They're having issues, but honestly, I think you should just slap them in the lower region and go ahead and do Twitch. Why? Because establishing an audience on Twitch, I can tell you there are a lot of people on Twitch that would tacitly agree with at least some of the stuff that we say, if not outright completely agree with us. Because that was another faction that I saw on my end of things in the spheres that I run in. There were a lot of gamers and memesters that really preferred Trump over Harris, partly because they saw how their wallets contracted over the last 4 years. They saw how, there was a lot of unfair treatment of people that they liked to see. There was a lot of censorship. That was a huge issue for them.
Casey said, "Happy we won day."
Yep.
Did you happen to watch the Rogan Elon interview?
I did not. I didn't.
They were
I saw a couple of clips.
They were talking about the gaming at one point, and they were saying how it really can make your mind pop, awareness wise. And they were speaking pretty highly of some of these games. Like Elon basically was saying how, he plays games, and if he doesn't get a good night's sleep and he wakes up and he plays a game, he can notice a difference in how he plays that if he gets a good night's sleep, which, really makes sense. I mean, that just means your brain is firing better or not.
When you don't get a good night's sleep, it dulls your senses the next day.
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of video games, not all of them, but a lot of video games stimulate your hand-eye coordination. They stimulate your thinking. They instantly put your... this is something that I've practiced. I started this process when I was in high school. I do not recommend anybody else do this. Please, for the love of God, please don't try to do this. I did it, and in some ways it's a mistake. Because I had problems waking up in the morning. When I initially first wake up, the very first thing I do is I forcibly activate my fight or flight response. Forcibly activate it. The second I open my eyes, I put myself basically in panic mode. That gets me out of bed, gets my feet into my shoes, and it gets me moving. And it basically stalls me up until I can get the coffee.
They make an alarm clock for that, right?
Yeah, I know. Alarm clocks just make my eyes open. They don't make my brain work.
This alarm clock would have made your brain work. It was called the atomic alarm clock. It had a vibrating pad that went under your bed.
Oh, no,
It made your bed vibrate. It had a siren that went off, and it had a light that flashed all at the same time to wake you up and stimulate you to get you out of bed.
Oh, shit.
The bed vibrating thing would have brought back bad memories of my uncle. Okay, let me put it that way. I would have shot that clock. I literally would have shot it. Mind you, they do also make an alarm clock that you have a little remote that is looks like a pistol, and you can shoot the alarm clock and it will shut off. But the way that I work,
you wouldn't get out of bed though.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, point is, does it exist? But I put my brain to fight or flight the second I wake up, and I get my coffee or I get my caffeine into me, and I start processing things. But I can get up and I can start moving instantly that way. Yeah. That's the way I had to train my brain that way because of my ADD. Because before I did this, my eyes would open or I would become conscious and I'd be like, I want to get out of bed. That dream was pretty good. I wonder if I can go back. And then my brain just goes into a million different directions at once. I forget to get out of bed. I had issues with that, severe issues when I was in high school. So I started to train my brain a different way. And one of the things that I would do when I was in high school, I've stopped doing it. When I was in high school, I had an old-fashioned Game Boy, the original cream spinach Game Boy. I would pop in Tetris and I would play Tetris for about 5 minutes. And that's what started me doing the whole flight or flight thing, is that I would just sit up and I would play Tetris for a little bit. And I would get my brain going. And then, because my brain is so badly ADD, especially back then, My brain starts thinking, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. Oh, okay, time to go get breakfast. Time to go get, orange juice and whatever, and take my pill because I was on medication back then. I'm not anymore. I'm completely self-medicated with, yeah.
I kind of function
we
like
can-
that.
I think we
I
can figure
kinda-
out what you're self-medicating with. I know you self-medicating with coffee.
Tons of it, 2 pots a day, and it works. And I can go straight to sleep. I don't have any problems falling asleep.
Me neither. I kind of function like that too, though, because when I get up, I know my creativity is usually the strongest in the first couple hours I'm awake. So as soon as I wake up, like I get my feet on the floor, I get down here, I get my computer on, I get my coffee, and I try to get my brain ready. If I'm drawing, to get shit going in here, or if I'm going out to carve, I got to get out there and get this shit in my line of sight so I can get my brain rapping on it,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of like that myself. I mean, I probably would have got diagnosed with some ADHD or whatever the hell they call all this shit when I was a kid, because they had me on all kind of drugs to make me stay in my seat, basically,
Yeah.
I mean, my teachers would tell me they don't care what I do. I can sleep, I can draw, just stay in my seat and keep my mouth shut, because I was, and they had me on Ritalin and the drug that came after Ritalin, and I was just like a fucking dope head, from second grade on, and that's probably why I'm a fucking pothead now too, to some degree, But
well, we know that ADD is a neurotransmitter issue. You're not uptaking certain neurotransmitters properly in your brain. And various different drugs, chemicals, do actually help with that. Caffeine is one of them. Stimulants are the main one, though. They are the ones that bridge the gap most effectively. But for some people, it's also antidepressants. Now, the sticky stuff, let's say, that you roll and enjoy by the lungful, that also has similar properties. So, it can be a therapy for certain people. Me, I don't want to start down that path. I mean, I could take edibles, I could do CBD oil, all that sort of stuff. I don't want to mess with it because I already have a system that works for me, and I'm going to be stubborn about it. But I'm just saying, for some people, for certain, because every single person who has this issue, the wiring is just very slightly off kilter individually for each. It's unique to just about each person. You can issue blanket, medications for all of it, and a lot of them will work. A lot of them get good results out of it. But for some people, if you want to take the homeopathic route and have a little leaf or bud or whatever the hell else, if it works for you and it allows you to function as a normal human being, aces. Awesome.
Yeah.
Do it.
And then you got moderation. You have to. That's always the key for anything like that. Moderation. Now, a little bit of smoke might help you get engaged, and but if you do too much, then you disengage, and that's how it is with me, because I found out years ago, if I would get up and get myself geared into what I wanted to draw, and I had everything set up, I was ready to go, I had a good plan formulated, and then I would smoke a little, I could bang shit out. But if I would smoke before I had that formulated plan in my head, then nothing would happen. I would think of too many options. I would think of this and I would think of that, instead of just picking up the pencil and start making fucking lines. You know?
I'm the same way when it comes to my writing. I'm the same way when it comes to my video game development. If I wake up and I don't get myself into a mindset, because usually at least these days, before the election, I was mostly concerned with the election. So my brain will be like, all right, what do I want to research today? What polls do I want to look at? Whose podcast do I want to see? And then, of course, as everybody knows, I mod for 2 different streamers. So, if they're on today, if they're on that day, I have to go check with them. I get my schedule set up, then I can start getting the caffeine into me. But if I start caffeinating, Go ahead.
Elections are a huge distraction
Oh, God,
on,
yes.
on so many aspects of life. It's just ridiculous, really.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they flood everything. You get the commercials. All your shows are talking about it.
Yeah. You
It's
can't get it out of your head. You
Yeah.
can't get it out of your head.
Yeah.
But speaking
So
of
I
that,
usually,
I have some information for you all that seems to be kind of breaking. This is according to PBS. So
yeah,
this is a
PBS.
leftist organization.
Yeah.
Special counsel Jack Smith is evaluating how to wind down the 2 federal cases against Donald Trump before he takes office in light of longstanding Justice Department policy that says sitting presidents cannot be prosecuted, a person familiar with the matter said Wednesday.
Basically, he's looking how to jump ship without losing face is the thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's already
Um,
lost face, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, he's lost a ton of face. Nobody will ever trust him again, except the far lefties who he can go to and say, hey, I was trying to be your hero. Give me a job, please. Please give job. Please give
Yeah.
job. You know, and he's going to be doing that for a long time. I mean, this is a guy
He's going to be to law what the hell's the name of him?
He's going to
I
be
can
to
see his
law
face.
what Guy Fieri is to cuisine. Let me put
Well,
it that way.
I'm thinking more along the lines of the football player that knelt for everything.
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, yeah.
Yeah.
Kaepernick.
He's gonna they're basically two peas in the same pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really.
Yeah, that's a piece of shit right there.
I want to see what SecDef Austin is going to do. I want to see how badly he's either going to throw himself at Trump's feet and say, please, sir, please, master, I don't want to be prosecuted. I shall give thee all the information that I requires to smite thine enemies, but please spare me, sir. Spare me. I want to see him crawling. That's the one I want to see.
Who do you want? Who do you want? Whose head do you want on that platter?
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Because I don't want to see
wanna
Chris
see
Wray
Mark
getting
Milley.
any kind of pass. I don't want to see Mueller getting any kind of pass. All those little snakes in the grass. No, I want them. Austin, I'm willing to make a deal with because
Milley
he's a
needs
guy.
to go. Mark Milley needs to come back and be court-martialed.
Yeah. But Austin, I'm willing to give a pass to because honestly, Austin has always been out for Austin. He's not a true believer. He really got suckered in by the whole COVID thing, and he is a germaphobe. But he's not a true, like, boiled into the flesh commie. That's the thing. Those who can comport themselves with at least a shred of honor, I feel we should work with to get and just to absolutely throw them in jail, prosecute them to the full extent of the law, give them a fair trial, but put them on trial, make them pay for their crimes. The ones that are the truest of true believers need to be made an example of. And by made an example of, I mean, okay, what you did is basically just a hair shy of treason. You are committing treason against the American people, treason against the country. Even if we're not at war, we are still constantly at war with the people that hate us. And you were basically delivering the country unto them.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You have just earned yourself an arrest, a trial for these charges. We'll see how it plays out. You know, you get your day in court, many days in court, and you will be tried by a jury of your peers, and we will see what they say. You know, that needs to happen for the ones that made the most egregious sins against this country. Just to tell the others, because, you know, we can't count on it being Trump, then Vance, then Trump Jr. and Ramaswamy, and then maybe Ramaswamy after that, you know, going into the 2040s. We can't count 100% on that. But if we can put the fear of the system into the remaining Democrats, the farthest or the far leftists, maybe they'll just shut the up and be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try and affect change in the system in a more peaceful way. Maybe I won't try to destroy the system outright, burn it to the freaking ground. We need to reestablish the fear of the rule of law.
Yeah, maybe they'll just take their ill-gotten gains and get out of the game.
That too. You know, a lot of them will probably do that. That's what I would like to see. You know, because we are a nation built on a living founding document, something that has the ability to change with the consent of the people. But that's the biggest thing, is the consent of the people. And these people have been acting without our consent for so long. and the entrenched bureaucracy has been allowing this to happen.
Yeah.
It needs to change. And that is the biggest thing that needs to change, is we need to make sure that our laws are prosecuted properly, that people are genuinely afraid of being, they don't think, hey, you know what, I'm so important they can't touch me. We can't have that anymore. We absolutely can't. They need to know that the law does apply to everybody, that there is not a two-tier justice system, which there's a multi-tier justice system, really. It all depends on how much money you have. But they need to be afraid of actually being called to account for their actions. So, the ones that, and I'm going to pay a little respect to the people who don't agree with us. But the ones that don't agree with us, the ones that say, we should ban smoking, we should ban all sorts of internal combustion engines for the environment, blah, blah, blah. Congratulations, you hold those views. I disagree with you. Let's find a civil way of addressing this, rather than I'm going to go and bribe this congressman or this senator, or I'm going to fix this election so that I get what I want and I don't care what anybody else says. Those people need to be called to account. That is not how our system is supposed to work. Granted, our system has worked the way it's intended to for a very long time. But again, we need to get back to that. We need to, it's never going to be 100%, but if we can get even 60%, 40% better, that would be a massive improvement. And it will discourage the ones that are the furthest to either side from trying to co-opt the system for their own gains. The Trump is very much a centrist. People call him a populist. Not so much a populist, he's a centrist, which is a big difference. A populist, he'll just ride whatever's popular. A centrist is somebody who sees both sides of an argument and can make a deal that neither side is technically happy with, which means, everybody got off fair. But that's him. That's what we need to get back to. We were built on the concept of fair play. That's one of the most important things about this country. Fair play. We haven't had fair play for the American people, the little people, the three of us in this video call right now, and then everybody else in the chat. We have not had fair play in so freaking long. It's not even funny. The last time we got close to fair play was Trump Gore, or not Trump Gore, but Bush Gore. That was the last time. Hey, Ruth.
Hey, Ruth.
You said there is a list of people that need to have charges that have been running this government. Yeah. Well, there's two lists of other people that need to come out too.
Yeah.
Until they
a D-list and an E-list. A D-list and an E-list. Yeah, those people most definitely need to be what they did to kids. We don't really have the death penalty for that, but extensive prison stays.
Florida does.
With me. Well, yeah, Florida does. If they committed any of the Texas too, and so does Tennessee. If they committed any crimes in any of those three states that I know of, I think Louisiana was trying to get that too, but whatever. Any of those three states, just take those three states. If they committed any of those crimes in any of those three states. Yeah, I saw that. The Dow going up. That's positive news for all of us.
The traders are happy. They're wearing Trump hats on the trading floor today.
Yep, because they know America's back, baby.
I pulled in the sheets earlier, and I have my Trump flag on my bike, and I pulled up next to this guy. When I came out, he looked at me and he looked so happy. And he reached over in his passenger seat kind of frantically, and he pulled out a red "Make America Great" hat again. And it was, I went up for breakfast this morning, and as soon as I walked in, the lady that works there, the one that's always there, she looked so fucking happy. She always does. But she looked extraordinarily happy today. And I said, man, you look good today. You said, you look so happy. And I said, does it have anything to do with last night? And she just shook her head, had a big old grin on her face. It does my heart good to see so many people, feeling the joy of
well, the thing is, people like that are hurting the most because of the stupid shit that the Biden administration was doing.
Absolutely. And who do you talk to about it? Yeah, there's nothing you can do. You can talk to your friends till you're blue in the face. Like, me and one of my best friends, we talk about it and we're like, but what the hell are you going to do? Like you can sit there and bitch about it all day long, and every time we get together, it's usually the same damn conversation, and it always ends like, what the hell can we do? Yeah, nothing. We got an election, and depending on the legitimacy of that, I mean, we're at their mercy completely.
Yeah. I'd say we got off pretty good in this election, though. And
Absolutely.
now with those 8 states moving forward with election integrity, that's another start. We need to keep pushing this in every possible state that we can. Yes, there's going to be some states that will never have election integrity. California is going to be one of them. Oregon is probably going to be another.
We need to fix our census first. That's the biggest thing we've got to fix.
Yeah.
First off, illegals should not be counted in the census. They are not Americans. They are not citizens. They don't count. If you want to give aid to illegals, then you figure out how to fucking pay for it. Don't take it out of the taxpayer's dollar.
Exactly.
Dig into your own damn bank account on that shit.
Sorry,
hey, I feel bad for them.
I understand the plight. I understand why they want to come here,
but
that doesn't make it any less illegal.
No. Hey, I had ancestors that came here, probably.
So did I.
But you know what? Nobody gave them shit. Nobody fucking helped them at all. They were like, hey, fine. You want to
watch a really good movie about immigration, I mean, honestly, go watch the movie Gangs of New York.
Okay.
Yes, excellent movie. I suggest it to literally everybody. Not only because it's a good history-ish movie, but also just because it's really good. It's honestly one of DiCaprio's best films. I really liked it because
who was the other guy? The guy that played Jack.
One-Eyed Jack, the guy with the American Eagle from the glass eye. Yeah.
What the hell is his name? I gotta look it up. I can't remember his name. Damn it. Sorry, guys and gals. My brain just is not what it usually is. Well, I guess it kind of is, but.
Yeah.
Daniel Defoe, isn't it?
I don't remember.
It's Daniel.
But I know what you're talking about.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah,
that's who it is. I didn't get quite to the where you put it in, and it popped in my head.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
That happens to me all the time.
He plays the antagonist as it is in the movie, and it's really good. Let me message Jay and see if he can find that for the movie tonight.
That would be a. I'm probably not going to do that tonight. Tonight, I am going to celebrate. I am going to fire up one of my favorite games, and I am going to play for a few hours.
I'm getting the shit bit out of my ankle.
Well, whatever turns you on, brother.
It's not a turn on thing. These little fuckers are just attacking. They're one's on one side of my foot, the other's on the other, and they're like attacking each other and biting me in the middle.
Oh shit.
Well, that leg looks like a turkey leg, so I'm just saying they might be a little hungry. They might be a little hungry. They might want a little snack. I am going to have fun imitating Trump the next 4 years. One of my little hidden talents is that I can do parody voices of most of our presidents. I can do Reagan pretty well. I was very good at Bush. Very, very good at Clinton. I can get his tone and cadence down perfectly. Wasn't so good at Bush Jr. I can do Obama, but it doesn't feel right to me. I would really need to study his mannerisms more. Biden is shit simple. I can do that every time.
Just grab some chocolate, squirt it in a diaper, and paint the wall.
But doing Trump is going to be a fun one.
Sorry, that was kind of gross, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
A few days ago, I don't recommend. Oh, was it that bad?
Yeah, that thing. That was a pilot. Hell,
Was
one
it
of the
a
guys
leftist
involved in it
version?
even said he regretted making the film. You know, it's bad when the people involved in it are like, yeah, you know what, that wasn't so good.
Huh. Well,
So I forget who it was. I think it was one of the main stars said he regretted doing the film. You know, and we know that in Hollywood there was we could instantly see who was really on our side and who was going to Diddy parties. And the ones that weren't going to Diddy parties, the ones that did not line up and support Kamala Harris, I have a feeling that the vast majority of them voted Republican as well. It's just they're not going to say anything because that's not popular.
well,
But that's
and they're
gonna be,
afraid that they'll get blacklisted in Hollywood. And
that's exactly what I mean. But that's another thing that could very well change. If the D list comes out and they get prosecuted properly and they go to jail and then they start flipping on the people who are above them, the studios could see literally a ground level shift, a massive earthquake.
they need to.
Yeah, and we can start seeing a lot more patriotic films coming out, ones that aren't colored by DEI stuff, ones that are more like The Patriot. Patriot wasn't 100% historically accurate. It was an amalgamation of
William Wallace.
no, not William Wallace. The Patriot was Francis Marion,
Oh yeah,
and a few other Rangers from South Carolina.
Braveheart's the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Braveheart's the one for William
Mel
Wallace.
Gibson.
But the Patriot was an amalgamation of a couple of different figures from South Carolina during the Revolutionary War. More directly Francis Marion than the rest of them. But point is we can see a lot more movies like that pay true homage to our past and our history, and are just overall more respectful to our country, and less like say, oh, the TV show SWAT. There's a perfect example right there. The one with the guy that was on Criminal Minds. That show, if you watch it, anytime there is an involvement of a civilian with a gun, they always kind of give left-handed compliments to gun owners, as it were. You know, they always depict us as being obstinate or stubborn or unwilling to talk to the police. And, you know, they just kind of like, oh, you're a gun owner. Well, you should know one.
That's the thing. I've never had any problem with the police. I've been pulled over numerous times. I've always just been polite to the police officer. You know, the one time the cop pulled me over because I had a bad tail light out.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you mind if I get out and look? And he said no. And I got out with him. We went back. I opened up my trunk. He's like, God, that's a big trunk, because I had a Bonneville. I'm like, yeah, I could probably fit about 8 bodies in here. Probably not the best thing to say to a cop, but we both laughed. And I pulled the light bulb out. And I'm like, yeah, it's broke. I said, I'll take care of it. And he just let me go with a warning.
Yeah.
You know, he gave me a card and said, hey, just bring this to the police station when you get it fixed and show them, and we'll be good.
A fix-it ticket.
Yeah. You know, I've been pulled over for speeding. I've told the story about how I got pulled over doing 85 on the turnpike, and the cop couldn't understand why I was so fucking happy that I got, you know, I'm getting at the 85 mile per hour ticket. And I'm like, I'm not telling you, but, you know, I was doing 100, 140, 150 miles an hour, you know, about a mile back. So
yeah,
if he had caught me back then, my ass would have been going to jail. My car would have been impounded. I never would have got it back. Yeah. So yeah, I'll take that 25 mile an hour over $500 speeding ticket.
Yeah. But you know, there's going to be a ground swelling shift in Hollywood if these people get prosecuted and thrown in jail or just shamed out of the country. Richard Gere's already left. He's already sold off all of his.
I thought that we had already had this shift back when the Me Too movement happened, and they went after Weinstein.
That
Harvey.
And it shifted some of the things. It shifted some, but it didn't shift the DEI stuff, the real, you know,
it didn't
get
to the core of it.
Yeah, well, it got rid of some things, but it didn't get rid of the things that really matter. It didn't get rid of the people who, you know, for example, have a more communistic view of life, who believe that certain parts of our Constitution need to be removed. It didn't get rid of them, and I knew it would.
Andrea, let me tell you why Mark Cuban is trying to cozy up to Trump right now. Mark Cuban is one of the fuckers who's been putting all kinds of money into helping the Chinese develop their advanced technologies and their military. Yep. So I think Mark Cuban's afraid that he's going to get charged with the Espionage Act
Mm-hmm.
and be charged as a traitor to the country, because you should not be helping an adversarial military that's going to end up killing our people if we end up getting into a war with them. That's traitorous, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, being a basketball owner and wanting to open a market in China is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kissing their ass and spending money and giving them money to, help them kill people that he knows probably at some point or will know,
Mm-hmm.
that's just, he has no, honestly.
Oh, I did want to say this. I don't usually, you know me, I don't stub for anybody corporate because I really don't like corporations. But for those of you that haven't heard, Walmart is having an inflation-free Thanksgiving this year for certain items. Just look it up on Google. There is a list on Walmart's website of the things that are covered under this. For those of you who might be a little looking at microwaving a hot dog with a piece of cheese on it, take a look at it.
If you're in the position where you're in that spot and you need help getting Thanksgiving, you email us and let us know.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody having to do that in our group, and if we can help, we will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just saying, for those of you that can afford to, maybe get a couple of turkeys and some of the side dishes. Yes, okay, it is all Thanksgiving-ish dinner, but if you have the room in your freezer for an extra turkey or something to tide you over and still, things start improving, just take the chance and freaking stock up now.
Andrew said Aldi's is too.
Yeah, Aldi's is the other one. Just take the chance and stock up a little bit. It will help in the long run.
We usually buy at least 2 extra turkeys and hand them out up here. We try to help out. For years, we were in a position where our church was helping us with Thanksgiving dinner. They would make sure we had everything for dinner.
Yep, I was in that position too.
And now that I'm in a better position where we don't need it, we made sure we told them, hey, we're good. Give it to a family that needs it. I don't believe in pulling out of a system that I don't need to be a part of.
Oh, here's a headline. I want to bring this up right quick. I know we're going to be wrapping up in a minute, but
hey, sorry.
Kamala Harris can still become first female president if Biden resigns. If I was Joe Biden, I would take that as a threat. Hey, Czar. Hey, buddy. I didn't see you on earlier, so I didn't send you a link or anything. Otherwise, I would have. Good to see you, pal. We're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon, as I know it's about 5 o'clock. It's about usually when we wrap up in the afternoons, right?
Yep.
Because I know it's dark as hell over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the dark already. I think it would be dark this soon already, but
you are always in the dark, Chris. You're always in the dark.
Well, yeah. Well, this morning I was really in the dark. For about 3 hours. But again, I'm sorry that I scared y'all this morning.
Yeah,
that's just a natural thing with me. So please don't worry. If it happens, it happens. I will come to again. I'll be fine. He says it's okay. I'm a bit busy right now anyway. Yeah. Well, we're glad that you're part of the community now, Sar. I'm glad all of you are here. I appreciate all of you. We jumped up 3 people yesterday. We're up to 158 subscribers on YouTube.
Yep.
And
like I said in yesterday's stream, I can fully vouch for Czar. He is a very eager young man, a lot smarter than people give him credit for. So I'm just glad to be able to include him in this side of the community.
We're good. We're always looking for good people to add to the community to help us get better.
And now we have an agent inside New York State. Think about that. You keep talking about wanting to expand our operations as a nonprofit and stuff. Well, now we've got an agent in the state north, and once I move, you'll have an agent in the state south of you. We will have a line, and then I will connect you. Well, depends Pennsylvania already shares border with Ohio, but that's beside the point. Connect you to Bacon. Oh God, my mind I just had a massive brain fart. My brain just went offline.
Cora.
Yeah. No, the very first thing that's popped into my head was Bacon and JD Vance. I'm sorry.
Interesting.
Bacon and JD Vance, and mind you, it was
There's some kind of
those eyes.
erotic dream coming out of that somewhere for somebody.
I'm sure, and it's probably Kamala. She's probably wishing JD Vance would just ravage her because she gets no other action, obviously.
Well, no, her husband's too busy kissing Jill.
Her husband's too busy kissing. Well, I'm pretty sure her husband likes them a little younger than her. I mean, she's 60 years old now. Just a little younger. Just a little younger.
They all seem to be a little freaky and getting into shit that I wouldn't be a part of, you know?
They're all freaking demons, man. They're all freaking demons. All the ones that are that bad off, they're all freaking demons. Well, I should say are demons, possessed by demons, followed by demons. They have demons chained to their very soul. So yes, Trump did get 44% of the vote in New York State, which is absolutely incredible. If we cut out all the cheating, I'm absolutely certain New York would be purple. There is so much cheating. New York is just as bad as California, if not worse. I mean, on the one hand, there's obviously places where Trump votes are erased or discarded, and on the other hand, there was fingers being pressed on the scales for Kamala. We got rid of the illegals. We cleaned up the voter rolls in the New York City and Albany. And, we made sure that only American citizens could vote. And it was one person, one vote, not 65 people for 175,000 votes or whatever the hell it is. If we could do that, I'm sure New York would be a purple state. It would be a constant fight between upstate New York and New York City about which way the state goes. Although I have to say, of all the places that do this sort of thing, that have that kind of that tug of war, Virginia kind of does it pretty well because cities over a certain size are automatically declared a district within the state, and they have a special status outside of the county itself, which the system works for them. Czar is right. A Republican hasn't gotten more than 40% since George H.W. Bush. And before that, I know New York went for Reagan because the only state that went for Mondale was Minnesota. But really, ever since then, it has not been good in that state for Republicans. But and New York is just one. If we did the same thing in Rhode Island, in Connecticut, and New Hampshire and Maine, Vermont is a lost cause. They're going to be lefties forever, but they're going to be their own special brand of lefties. They're going to be our crazy cousins. They actually used to be a country.
I'm waiting for Vermont to sit there and say that they're going to go back to Canada.
They were never part of Canada. They were their own. They were the Green Mountain Republic at one time, though.
Yeah, I know, but they have the option in their constitution that they can join Canada if they wanted to. Because I don't see them going back to being their own country again. They couldn't sustain themselves.
No, they could. They could. Well, they could sustain themselves a lot of different ways. I mean, for one thing, tourism alone, jack the taxes up for everybody that lives there, and just make things impossible for everybody. They could make a go of it. I mean, there's countries that are smaller than Vermont that make a go of it, and they manage to have a balanced budget. They're just going to have to, make some very hard choices. Very hard choices. But no, if we cleaned up a lot of things when it comes to voting, a lot of the states that are supposedly safe blue states would become purple overnight. California, I know, is one of them.
Clean the voter rolls up and institute voter ID, and that would take care of almost all of it right there. Yeah,
and very strict control over who handles the ballots, moving back to paper ballots.
Well, yeah, I was going to say back to straight paper ballots.
Mm-hmm.
And
manual tabulation, straight paper ballots.
Make it so that the people who are counting and handling ballots will be legally bound by that. And if they do actions that are unbecoming, they can be, jailed for that.
Put a camera over their heads. That's the easiest way to do it. We already have what's supposed to be a system of three. You have one person who's technically independent, one person who is a Republican, one person who's a
Republican.
Democrat, and they're all supposed to verify
Work
each
together.
ballot.
Yep.
There's ballot comes across their table. Democrat says yes, this ballot is valid. Hand it to the Republican. Yes, this ballot is valid. They hand it to the Independent. The Independent says yes, this ballot is valid. It is now counted. That's the way they're supposed to.
Yeah,
More
so
or less
I
supposed to
agree.
do things.
I dated a girl from Vermont once. I'd never do that again. Nope.
Vermont is very strange.
They're very, very weak-willed people. They you carry on with them and call them a name, and they take it personally and get pissed off at you. It hurts their little feelings.
Yeah, Vermont's just a strange place, and I'm fine with them being strange. They're probably going to have a very mixed bag of beliefs for the longest time. Whatever, that's fine. We clean up the voter rolls. They're probably always going to vote Democrat or Communist or Green or whatever. That's just their culture, though. That's the state's culture. That's fine. I'm saying, if we can clean up the election integrity in a lot of these states, Illinois, yeah, that probably would be a purple state too. I know Rockford is pretty, more or less solidly Republican. Cairo, sort of. The southern part of Illinois used to be known as Little Egypt because of the city of Cairo. And it's spelled the same way as Cairo is in Egypt, but it's not pronounced the same way. And if you're from Illinois, you pronounce it Cairo, you can get slapped in the face if you're in that town. It's Cairo. But Little Egypt used to be so deep red conservative, like a Democrat would go in there and instantly burst into flames. That kind of conservative. Just that little demons in their body would just instantly burst into flames and just melt. That used to be very solidly Republican. It's not so much anymore. But the state would be purple-ish. A good Republican candidate like Trump would probably have a better chance there. Wisconsin would be a lot more conservative than it is. Minnesota, they have a lot of imported Somalians and Arabs in that state, and they will mostly vote Democrat. But still, cleaning up the voter rolls would turn that state purple. It used to be pretty dependably semi-reddish. In certain ways, they have I don't know if they still exist, but the Farmers and Laborers Party used to be the equivalent of the Democratic Party in that state. They didn't have a Democratic Party in that state. They actually banned the Democrats in that state. They had the Farmers and Laborers Party instead. I don't know I think they unified with the Democrats ages ago, but they were caucused with the Democrats. They counted as Democrats. Very strange politics. But again, we clean up the voter rolls. These elections are going to be a lot more fluid. It's not going to be your expected block of states.
Wow, we got 16 people watching right now. Welcome
everybody.
in, everybody. Good to see you. We got 7 on Rumble and 8 on YouTube.
Yep, good to see you all.
Hello to the people, all of you. Good to have you here.
Chris, you want to get us wrapped up?
The only thing,
I've
last
said
thing
my
I'm going
piece.
to say about that is, like I said before, I think we need to start implementing like the electoral college to the states, where each district counts as one vote, and that
The
way
Maine and Nebraska system.
Then you nullify the population difference between the cities and the rural people.
Yep, that would be huge.
That's a big problem that I have with our election system right now. And I would love to bend Trump's ear on that.
I don't know though. That might actually be a states' rights issue and not a federal issue. I don't know the specifics of that. I'm gonna confess I don't know the specifics on that one. But I agree that every state should be following the Nebraska and Maine model. Every single state. That way, also, you will end up with like partial votes downstate Illinois, upstate New York, Mountain Range California, off the coast, Mountain Range and Plains areas of Oregon, Mountain Range and Plains areas of Washington. Those would all be red.
Yeah, I know some Republicans that live up in Oregon, and they're like, I hate it here, but my family's here, and
by territory, 2/3 of the state of Oregon is basically Republican. Hell,
they're trying to join Idaho.
Yeah, the western 1/3 of the state is trying desperately to join Greater Idaho. I kind of back that in the sense that I understand their frustration because Northern California is also trying to break away into the state of Jefferson. I would also back them joining Greater Idaho to make Idaho suddenly a West Coast state. That would be funny that they have a trail leading from old Idaho down through Oregon, down through Northern California, all the way out to the Pacific Ocean. That would be one of the funkiest looking states we have.
Do you remember? Can you imagine what that would do to their commerce, though?
Oh my God!
Them,
if they could take the port of Eureka.
Yeah, I was going to say that would make that would give them access to their own port,
and
they could completely revolutionize the way that they do commerce.
Yeah, it would be great for them. But breaking the electoral votes down by congressional district instead would give these people a better voice. I mean, not within their own state, but nationally. And it would help. It would help the overall situation. Like
Sar says that's how he feels about New York the same way.
Yeah. I mean, if Trump had been able to have that kind of system in place in New York and California, just out of those two, it wouldn't have even been a question that he would have won. He would have taken away probably 350 electoral votes if we broke things down that way. And Kamala Harris would probably have had maybe 120 at best. And it would be a fairer system, because then the people who are in the outlying districts, away from the cities, would be able to say, hey, you know what? I don't like this. I want to vote for this guy, and I want my voice to be heard. I don't want all of the electors that are assigned to my area to go just, for whoever wins the whole state, winner take all. So yeah, I've always agreed with that.
Well, I'll hit up my state reps and talk to them and see what they think. Yeah. They're trying to push this. I have a state rep here that's a Republican. It's trying to push this first past the poll voting bullshit, and we shot him down numerous times. No, I don't want that. That's bullshit.
Well, look at it this way: if Pennsylvania fractured by congressional district, Trump wouldn't get all 19. He'd get 17, maybe 16, but he'd still, no matter what, would get a chunk of the state.
He'd get more. Republicans would fare better overall if we were broke down that way, because they would actually get some of us instead of just all or nothing bullshit where we're outvoted by the cities, which normally is what happens.
Yeah.
Voter turnout must not have been good in the cities.
That and a lot of shenanigans was shut down in the cities too. They actually called the police in Philadelphia at one point, or Trump did, or one of Trump's.
Well, they called they had a lot of lawsuits that were heard yesterday all across the state of Pennsylvania for different things. Does Trump have to wait until January to do anything? He can start meeting with his teams. Delegates from other countries can contact him to say to congratulate him, but he can't actually start talking with them about policy yet. I don't think
he can to a degree. He can make offers and possible promises, but he can't work out any confirmed deals, basically.
Yeah.
But he can
pretend, he can't act as the president yet because he'll get in trouble.
Yeah. Like, so I know this here's just one example. Say Keir Starmer of England decided that, hey, you know what, I want to work with Trump on because he's the incoming administration. This wouldn't happen until he takes office. Say he wants to do North Atlantic Patrol for pirates. I know there's none up there, but just take it as an example. Just spitting here. He can go to Trump and say, when you take office, we would like to have a joint exercise for piracy, because those evil Greenlanders are clubbing the baby seals again, and we want to put that, put a stop to that. Can you at least promise that? Yeah. Can you at least promise that when you get into office, we'll have a second conversation about this and hammer out the details? And he can say yes. Because for one thing, we have a very special relationship with England. We always have ever since World War I. And it'd be the same thing if France or Germany came to him and said the same thing too. Those darn Greenlanders are trying to club the baby seals again. We want to have. Can we at least agree to have a second meeting, or can we agree to think about this after you take it up? But this is an issue that we want addressed with the incoming administration. He can go about that far when it comes to international stuff. And like when it comes to Russia, I mean, he could go out and make a speech today and say, you know what, I am going to work my hardest to get peace in Eastern Europe. He cannot lay out the specifics of how he's going to do that, but he can say that is a policy position. I am going to move us towards having peace in Eastern. And you notice, by the way, how fast Zelensky basically threw himself into Donald's lap, face first. He's trying to pull
because he knows his funding's done. He's done.
His gravy train is gone. His gravy train is gone. So he just wants to
now
exit.
Europe is talking about keeping it going, trying to keep it going.
Yeah,
I was just reading about that. But tell you what, I'll get some information on that, and we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yep.
But I got to go take meds.
Yep.
I want to thank you all for being here. If you're new here, please subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
If you are interested in joining our Discord, I will put my email in the chats here. Let me get over to Rumble. You can email me there, and I will add you to our Discord server.
Yep.
That way you can come hang out with us, and we do a lot of fun stuff on there. It is a free speech platform. As long as you are not breaking the law, you can go on there and say whatever you want. Now, you might get some pushback, but that's just life. You
be mature.
Allowed to
be mature.
You're allowed to have free speech, but you're not always exempt from the repercussions of your free speech. If you come on there and you start talking good about kitty diddlers, you're not going to have a good time with us. Okay.
Well, yeah, that it's also against Discord's TOS. So you're going to get smacked for that.
But
anyway, all right, everybody, y'all take care.
Y'all have a great night. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you, Cal. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate y'all. And
y'all have a great night. Catch you later.
We will see you in the morning, as long as I'm not doing stupid shit like passing out. So, but all right, we're out, y'all. Peace. I don't know if you can see me. Good night, all.